Hello guys and welcome to TFT Worlds. Final lobby, game number 4. Enjoy.
That is a bold move. Thankfully, that is not what we end up on. We end up on Finn's Market here. But this is another one that can have high variance, right? Are you going to get 2 Radiant items? And if so, if those Radiant items are very powerful for your comp, that could make a massive difference.
On the left side, you're seeing the points. Again, I'll spare you the maths, but basically anyone on Hanxing and above can make check here if they place accurately. Notably though, Hong Lian finally giving up on the Twisted Fate, saying, okay, you guys win 2 8th places. I'll succumb. I'll go for the Manatee.
It's understandable. Yesterday he had good results, made it into this top 8. Today, already this bad shakeup, the mental finally crumbles with the TF Legend, and he has to switch to Earth.
So I think a big thing here, by the way, if Wet Jungler and Volterix are really paying attention, let's say it's a Gold or a Prismatic here, I think you wait as long as possible to cash it in, see what Tidal takes, and try to go the same thing, because all Wet Jungler needs is a 7th or higher. Again, your entire job is try to make Tidal lose, and so trying to figure out a line that you can play to contest feels like the right play here.
Going to be seeing what those augments are. And of course, just a little bit glancing across the boards here is Wet Jungler was on the same score in the previous game. Going into it, came out a little bit lower. Unfortunately, didn't have the greatest game just yet, but has a decent start here.
2 Jinxes in the shop. I think he hasn't played any Gunners throughout days 1 and 2, so maybe not so comfortable on that line. Is comfortable on Demacia, of course, was holding a lot of those units coming into this 2-1 augment. Tome can be a big option if it's going to be a gold augment, but it will be Prismatic.
Oh my god!
The massive spike at 2-1. I see a cruel pact potentially for Xiaoga. Tidal has picked his augment. Ancient Archives is the play. And everyone, as you mentioned, Mort, has to wait, has to go to his board, sit, find a nice comfortable spot.
You're checking.
And decide how they're going to stop Tidal from winning the Runeterra Reforged World Championship in just 4 games.
Yeah, this is interesting. I don't know that a lot of people were really ready for this Prismatic. This is going to throw a big curveball. One thing I'll call out here is Hong Lian taking Birthday Present. I do like this choice here. If everyone else is fighting and griefing, Birthday Present is an augment that can push a lot of tempo. And if so, Hong Lian winning here is best case scenario for everybody else. Wei Jin decides to roll past his Earth augment as well. March of Progress definitely an option here. The other's not really great. So yeah, does go with the March of Progress, needs a 3-cost reroll. And so now we're going to have to pay insanely close attention to where
Tidal!
Tidal's open forwarding, it looks like, and he's on 20 gold at 2-1. This could get really crazy very, very fast.
That is such an genius play, because if he's open forwarding and not popping his tome, he's basically not giving away his hand. Of course, it's very risky, don't get me wrong, but not popping those tomes tells you everyone else either has to wait and therefore also ruin their own game plans, or pick, and he might be on the losing end of the hand holding.
Yeah, I don't like this play here right now, because if Tidal gives away the lobby to someone like Hong Lian or Wet Jungler here with these birthday presents, all he's doing is making the next game even harder for him. He needs to kind of lean into that first place play here.
He has an 8-trait Taylor now, though. This is very interesting from Tidal. Could be going for the Tome Pop at 2-3 instead, buying enough time to shake off the players that are trying to contest him on certain lines.
Yeah, I do like that part of it here. We do see some of the tomes have started to see popped. We already see 2 Void as well as a Sorcerer. So we're going to want to avoid those as we're tailoring. Going up against, again, Wet Jungler, who is level 5 here, has that 2-star Cassiopeia, 2-star Aurelia. Not many items, though, really slammed. The Gargoyle in the wrong spot here, so might actually end up losing this fight against Songqing.
Double trouble for Hanxing as well. It's going to be very interesting to see where he navigates. We saw Rogue, we saw Nico becoming very popular options in the past. We'll see on this patch what the Chinese player decides for. No Demacia emblems yet as well, so that path is relatively open for Tidal if he can find it in his tome. He had the Poppy on his board to tailor for it.
Yeah, Altanawe did take a Shurima emblem, which if we looked at Tidal's board, that was something it felt like he could be tailoring towards. And so, you know, we get a look at this 4 Shurima here, really showing the mark, and we're just going to keep calling it out as we see another Shurima emblem pop up. So Tidal especially really going to want to avoid getting those Shurima emblems right now. That's looking like the line that you want to stay away from.
We're going to be, of course, paying attention to Tidal's board. As soon as he pops those tomes, we're going to be heading over there, but doesn't seem like that's the case. Altanawe also holding on. You were saying it, Volta. support. I'm so stressed. You were saying it, several players already on similar lines. We're seeing 2 Void, we're seeing 2 Shurima, and so if he has those in his 8 traits right now, he needs to make sure that they're out, he tailors better to avoid going down the same route, which why I assume he's probably not popping it right now, but every second that he's not doing it, he's down a Prismatic.
Yeah, the thing that scares me here, again, like, we have to get a first place. So the longer we draw this out, the harder it is to come back, right? Like, let's say best case scenario, he gets 2 Demacia emblems and he's uncontested. Okay, he's also down to 65 health, and it's going to be really hard to turn it around from that point. So I'm very nervous right now. My money right now would be on one of these birthday present players taking that tempo and being able to run away with it as everybody tries to stop Tidal.
I'm not sure it's the best idea to give a hypothetical on Game 4 of a World Championship just in case he actually does get 2 Demacia emblems.
Oh,
but, you know, Mortog magic works in mysterious ways. Hopefully, in this case, the buttons are not pressed.
So if you're looking at Tidal's units right now, he definitely has Shurima in the pool. I think he's trying to get that out maybe, but we'll see. Coming back from this carousel, he did rack up a couple of units to maybe slot in, but what's the game plan here? Why are we not taking out the Shurima? How many tailors does he want?
I mean, if you can get up to 10 and 12, it does give you more options. But the thing is, if it's just a bunch of traits you don't necessarily want, that's not great, right? Like, popping it right now, you could end up with something like Ishtal, Invoker, Bastion, Noxus, right? And is that really the world you want to be in? I'm not sure that's the case. I think right now, though, all Tidal's doing is he's going to Lost Streak, maybe look at his 3-2 augment, and use that to inform his decision and spike with all this gold. Because if there is one way to go first, right, it's a big first rate play, which is Lost Streak, max econ, 3-2, pop the tomes, and see where you go from there. And I do like, if anything's going to work in this Lost Streak way, it's probably something like that.
This is a game where going first or eighth is, you know, that's the exact game plan. It doesn't matter if you go second or third. So he's taking this enormous risk, which you wouldn't take in any other situation in TFT, basically, except for exactly this moment in checkmate format where you're the only one in checkmate and you know everyone is trying to hound you.
All right, so we get our first Finn's Market item, by the way. It's just going to be a full item, so nothing too wild or crazy here. And again, this is just more information for Tidal, right? Oh, look, I've got this type of item. Maybe I've stuck with ADM.
Oh.
We do see some pops here. First one, Shurima Strategist, Rogue Slayer. We called it out before. We don't want Shurima here. Goes with Slayer, double Slayer here, so now the condition is very clear.
And Tidal played exactly this line in the first few games on day 1. He's comfortable on the 6 Slayer vertical, especially trying to cap it out around those legendaries, especially with that Aatrox much, much later in the game.
And, I mean, we were alluding to it. Nobody else is on the Demacia. Nobody else is on that Slayer line. Completely open for Tidal to maybe go all the way, but he did lose significant amounts of HP all throughout this early game and allowed other players to have stronger boards. And despite now finally using those tomes, his board is not strong enough to keep up with the rest of them.
Yeah, you look at these items and it's very clear here, right? We're going for a Quinn. This is a Quinn 3 Demacia direction, play around the Slayer Fiora, possibly get that Mordekaiser in, things like that. So that direction is very clear. So now, if I'm anyone in this lobby, every single Quinn, I'd be opening up that team planner, marking it, make sure we get that icon that shows, and we do not miss a single Quinn, because every Quinn Tidal gets is probably one step closer to game over.
Especially in the case of What Jungler. He's on 16 points right now, just needs 4 points to make it to checkmate himself. That's all he really cares about for this game 4. So just a 5th will do it, as you mentioned earlier, Mortog. So again, if he's able to do both, get a 5th place at the very least, play into the Demacia line, play slightly into that Quinn as well, that would be, you know, kind of 2 birds with 1 stone, which is really the game plan for What Jungler, and maybe Volta as well.
Yeah, leading in. So now we're going into 3-2. We talked about augments. You know, we know what direction we're going here. So again, right now, Hong Lian, though, levels to 6. And again, he's got that birthday present. So every time he levels up now, that is a free champion that's going to come in. We see the free 2-star Galio here. And the next level up is where those spikes start to get really big, right? Level 7, you get a free 2-star 3 cost. Level 8, free 2-star 4 cost. And if you can make it to 9, you end up very powerful. So this is really about playing what you can be adaptive with, playing around the Sorcerer, the Warmogs, as we head into the fight.
Going to be seeing Hong Lian whether or not he can defend his streak here. On the other side is Volta. We talked about those emblems early on. He just played a Void game, so maybe it's a little bit more in tune with finding those units now. We're going to be seeing whether or not that works out for him, but what doesn't work out for him is this fight. Hongleon strong as ever as he is, cruising through this lobby, 40 gold and 6 wins in the tank as we are entering that augment stage in just a little bit. Notably, Tidal keeps losing, keeps bleeding here, keeps losing HP as we are going to be going into yet another prismatic roll on the augments here. That's 2 for 2, and he does have options. Goes
level up
there.
He had so much gold to work with on the open for it. It's a risky move with very high rewards if he's able to make it to those crazy levels. We talk about Aatrox coming into play with a 6th Slayer as well.
Yeah, this one's interesting because, again, he had the gold, he has the level up, he's level 7, 40 gold now, that's very strong. But Slayer in particular, it's less about the levels and it's more about the power of the units, right? A Quinn 2, not going to win you the game. If you can get the Mordekaiser and the Fiora 2 along with the Demacia with that Slayer, that can be really strong. And so choosing to spend all that gold into level up is a little scary here. There is one other condition that could be considered here. It's really tough, and that's going to be around the Aatrox. If you can somehow pull this off into an Aatrox 2, that could also do some serious damage.
Any other prismatic augments that are coming through here that are interesting? I would say Wet Jungler, pretty interesting coming through here with a little bit of more econ after that birthday present.
Yeah, I think Wet Jungler taking Hedge Fund here, that's a good play. It's going to allow you to get to 9 quicker. The one thing I've seen when you play that line is you end up on level 9, you end up with all these units, but you have no combat power, and so you often kind of fall into a third. But for someone like Wet Jungler, that's exactly what he needs, so I think that's great. Hongleon, though, I do want to call it out right now, a clear favorite to win this lobby. I have played a lot of Birthday Present, and the reality is for it to succeed, you have to win streak. You have to keep pushing that tempo because we could see Hongleon be level 8 on like 3-6, 4-1, and use the power of the units to push forward, and that kind of tempo is hard for everyone else to come back from.
Second Finn's market coming through here, and that allows, of course, a little bit of ratting. We're seeing the the Sapphire come through here for Wet Jungler, but of course, other support items might be better against other boards, and I think you're looking at Tidal and you're saying, whatever you're doing, I'm going to try to stop you.
In a lobby like this, where you're trying to bully specifically one player, this is a situation that Checkmate brings forward. Something like Zephyr is going to be huge. Wet Jungler can really just position for Tidal as often as possible whenever he's in his pool.
Yeah, I agree with the Zephyr choice. We also saw a Shroud here. Right now, if you're looking at this lobby, and I know I might curse it here, but it's really not looking great for Tidal. I don't like the situation he's in, and the fact that Hongleon has such an advantage right now. Everybody else is going to have to play bully. Hongleon might just get a bunch of points here, and I will say it's good for everybody else, the fact that Hongleon only has, I believe, 9 points? And so, yeah, so the fact that he is, even if he gets a first, isn't going to be in check, that's great for everybody else that's in that middle of the pack.
Tidal still losing 30 HP now. We're checking in with all of the boards in the lower third as we are entering that carousel. Big unit here is going to be the Kai'Sa for all of those Void players. We'll see who gets her. Wet Jungler does not want her, but some of the other players, you can see Volta already wiggling there. Does he make headway over there? But Xiaoge is faster.
In the early game with Void, for so many players, the stability the trade offers, but specifically, there's 2 players trying to go into the Void line. Both Volta and Xiaoge are on the Void emblem. Sorcerer emblem as well for Volta, whereas Xiaoge has the Shurima emblem, so kind of a diversion in the path there for both of these players.
Yeah, Tidal goes to 8 here, so now, again, we know the plan here. Finds the Quinn 2.
Wow.
So the Mordekaiser as well.
Yeah, found the Mordekaiser. That's going to help here. This puts us in a situation now where we do have 6 Slayer. The item's not bad for Quinn here. You're going
Mordekaiser.
No duplicator, has a Cassante out of nowhere. Would have loved to see an Aatrox, of course, but not going to be the case here for Tidal. And he's at 0 gold, Morduk.
Yeah, I think being at 0 gold here, not too big a deal, though. Again, you've got the Quinn 2, you've got the 6 Slayer. 6 Slayer doubles the power of the trait here, so it's not too bad. Obviously, we'd love to find the Mordekaiser 2 and things like that, but overall, also took the Zerat portal, which is going to buy some extra time here. So this feels like as good a position as Tidal could be in, but it doesn't feel like one of those crazy first-place comps that we're going to see. And even this fight, you know, again, could be a win here. I imagine this Quinn's going to do some big damage. It's actually
Guys,
really close.
strike
All right.
delayed. Kaisa is not going to be able to claw it out there. Tidal finally winning after what felt like forever. And on
goodness.
this shop,
Uh-oh.
he just finds the Mordekaiser. Naturally, Nico too also here if he wanted to just beef up the front line for now and make her a little bit stronger, and that is going to be the choice. Really, really great shops for Tidal.
So obviously getting the Mordekaiser here, big high roll, but I do want to call out the fact that he's using Ice. He's using Ice Ishtal combined with 6 Slayer and the Omnivamp. This is brilliant setup here to allow this Mordekaiser to be very strong, and even if it takes a little bit of damage up front, it's going to be able to drop that aggro, power back through, be the last one standing, because Mordekaiser gets that extra power if he's the last one standing. All of a sudden, with this turn of events, Tidal might be looking okay.
And it's great fundamental TFT. You have all of this damage from the Slayer trait. You're missing something. You're missing sustain. You're missing, some amount of time to buy that time for that damage to come through. And as you're mentioning more, the Ice solves that problem perfectly for Tidal, buys him maybe a bridge to actually make it to those Aatroxes later on in stage 5 and 4. And every player that was thinking about contesting the Slayer line was probably thinking, I'll start holding on to Mords in stage 4. Surely Tidal won't just find somehow in stage 3 a Mordekaiser 2. And Weijin is sitting on 100 gold.
Wow.
Again.
Yeah. And if you're looking across this, you also know why Tidal is able to find everything just so naturally on the back of that level up, going to 8, being able to capitalize on that while everyone else is mostly sitting on level 6. They don't even see the Quins in their shop yet.
Yeah, the big challenge for someone like Weijin here, you can see doing a full board pivot here, clearly knows what he wants to play with these items. Looks like might be playing around the MF here. He could go the MF3, Nautilus 3, build a board around that. Right now, the fact that Tidal hit that Mordekaiser 2, all of a sudden the options...
Good.
The options to counter him are just not as high anymore. Now you kind of need to worry about capping higher than
Finds
him.
the GP.
Holy.
Pretty decent setup here overall. Found a lot of Nilas, found the Misfortune. Would have hoped for more Misfortunes on this roll down, but overall, pretty good conversion here.
Question is it going to be enough against what some of the other players are throwing up? Hongleon still sitting in that top, has fallen just a little bit since that early win streak though, so is losing on the tempo end of that birthday present just a little bit. And Weijin also not strong enough to convert this into what he was looking for. Final augments are coming through, and it is going to be golden ones for everyone. And we're seeing the choices come through. Everyone's squinting at this screen.
Layers
But
resolve for
Tidal!
Tidal when he has 6 layers
goodness.
online already.
Okay.
It seems to be
Those
he's getting
are the question
scarier
mark pings
and
you're
scarier.
hearing.
I might have caster cursed this a bit here. Slayer's resolved with 6 Slayer and the Mordekaiser
And
on
the Ice Ishtal. Oh my god.
What's going to happen now is, so this augment gives you extra armor and MR every time you deal and take damage. And so this Mordekaiser is going to end fights. It's going to take damage, ice up, heal back, and have a ton of armor and MR. As long as he can get a 3rd item for this Mordekaiser, this is scary all of a sudden. Somebody else needs to start looking at 3-star 4 costs, something else that can outcap this board here, because otherwise this lobby just got in a lot of trouble.
And I think that's exactly what Weijin's game plan was. As he was rolling down, he was picking up all of those extra Nilas, trying to at least make that happen to maybe throw a fighting chance against this behemoth of a board that Tidal has put together here, and he will just shred through the lobby now. He might be at the very bottom in the HP standings, but in terms of board power, he is leading this pack.
And reminder, Tidal, runner-up in Set 7 World Championship. He's had the experience before. He's been oh so close to that trophy in the past. He's trying to come back as one of the favorites coming into this tournament the entire weekend. Started off slow, but got so strong in day 2. Heimerdinger 2 for Wet Jungler, 28 HP though. He has to try and get at least a 5th, and especially has to deny Tidal the win.
One of the things I like here is at least we went double Dragon Claw in this set. Again, if you know that Mordekaiser's kind of the cap, that's a decent option here for the set 3, but it feels a little different here. Wet Jungler does find the Heimer 2, which I think is great, but we talked about right now, he needs to not go 8th place. As long as Tidal doesn't win and Wet Jungler can get, I believe it's like 6th or higher, should be fine, but 8th place would be disastrous.
It would be, and it is looking like that might be within the realms of possibility as Wet Jungler and Altanawe go up against each other on the other side. We're seeing the variation of the strategist for it from Altanawe, but Wet Jungler's board much stronger here. Rolls over that Azir finally. A big bonk coming through. And Hanxing will also be able to win. We're seeing a little bit of an upturn in the lobby standings on the right-hand side as we are going into the carousel. There's a Sion and a Bel'Veth. And the Bel'Veth, of course, for the Void players, really important.
For Tidal, maybe even as well, with a Slayer emblem onto the Bel'Veth if it fits on his board. I mean, overall, it's time now to start looking at the game plans for all other 7 players in this lobby and start deciding, is there anyone that can actually have a projection to get strong or even stronger than Tidal coming to stage 5?
Yeah, it's going to be really tough here. And again, Tidal on fire right now. Everyone's sort of praying that somebody else can spike really hard. There's just got to be some sort of focus here. There's got to be a way for people to try to take this down. I do like Tidal's itemization here. We talked about the Quicksilver. The Quicksilver is going to shut down a lot of those options, right? A set 3 can't stun a Mordekaiser that's got that Quicksilver. So you've got to burn time. Yeah, Hongleon getting the Cassante 2 out of his birthday present here. Level 9 on 4-5, that feels really good here. Has some decent items. Also has the Duplicator, so if he can find... I think you actually lock here and maybe go for an Azir 3. That is something that could definitely stop this tournament from ending.
Good also, he's holding on to that Mordekaiser, saying you're not getting that. On the other side, Xiaoge holding on to an Aatrox, so players are very aware of what's going on here, and they're trying to deny Tidal that win as best as they can, while also keeping their own points in mind. If it ends here for some reason, your points are going to matter in the final standings. You cannot just open forward and then hope that that miraculously works out. Tidal does keep streaking here, one by one by one. He's clawing up the ladder on the right-hand side, and I think it is very close if you're looking at the HP totals.
The other thing really interesting to look at is whether or not Tidal wins, that's one thing. But a lot of our players right now that are close to that check are doing really bad in the lobby right now. Wet Jungler about to possibly not make it. Wajan Iverson's another one. Volterix is another one. These are people that are like really just needed like 4th, 5th, something like that to get check, and they may not hit it. So even if Tidal doesn't win, there's a scenario where we go into the next game with only one player in check still.
Hanxing playing for this Ashe, double trouble with a set as well. The Naue fully clumped around this Renekton, the Bel'Veth Shurima on 2 different boards now coming to the stage 5 late game. We'll see what this Ashe can do on this massive clump. The volley going to hit pretty much every single unit. Ashe, he casts again and again and again, but it's too little. The frontline melts. Set cannot buy enough time, but it looks like Ashe has enough damage for that 1v1. It's going to be so close to Leah, a unit that we haven't named once the entire tournament, manages to find the win there.
Well, sometimes the small units matter, Panda. This time around, it was surely like that. And Tidal now in the top 3. Just goes to show how close it was all the way. Raptors come around, a chance for players to maybe get a little bit of econ. You can see many of them are pretty dry when it comes to the money front.
Yeah, you can see kind of look on Wajan's face. He's a little frustrated, I think. Has the 7 Nautiluses, only 5 Misfortunes, is holding the gold as long as he can. Really needs to find this MF3 to have a shot at being able to take it down, and even then, it's looking a little scary here. This is not a board that screams top 1, but maybe you can do some damage. Maybe you can stop Tidal's win streak, something like that. And we can see deciding to roll bit here. Really? Okay, find the Nautilus. That's good. We just need to find the MF here. But again, we're so far off. There's
double Nila. There was a double Nila. Does not want it. Rolls on. Does not care for her and the Misfortune. She is coming around finally here. There is an upgrade on the J4 as well, but there's no duplicators, nothing to help us. It's just components coming through. That was a lot of gold.
Yeah, unfortunately, is going to use the remover to get a Zephyr, a key Zephyr if he needs it. But overall, again, this looks like a board that might get like 3rd or 2nd, which is all Wajan needs, so that's not a bad place to be in. But somebody has to stop Tidal. We're going to keep talking about it because as long as I see that 30 health on fire, that's the big story right now.
And it keeps happening!
It was maybe Hongleon with the Azirs, but so many other players are holding Azirs as well, stopping the potential, underdog from taking that win here.
Honestly, that's a good point, to the point where maybe you sell the Azirs. Maybe you hand the Azirs to Hong Lian.
Now
let
with
him
Azir
win.
too, this game plan is helping Tidal.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. If you're going to have a shot at stopping him, sell the Azirs. Let somebody else hit that 3-star 4 cost. Let somebody stop him. If they don't, Tidal's going to run away with it. And I don't know. This is the kind of thing they're in so much stress, they may not realize that that's the plan.
Hong Lian sold the Azirs he had, so that projection has ended, but he's hit Bel'Veth 2, he's hit K'Sante 2, Sion 2. Is that enough to potentially stop Tidal's win streak?
To keep away from Tidal, we are watching 2 players, and one of them is going to go out. 5-2, Volta on 11 points, Hanqing on 9 points. Volta 1 copy away from that Vel'Koz 3 to at least have a big power spike on this board. On the other side, we're seeing the Set 3, we're seeing the Ashe 3.
Double
we
deep
have watched the power of this board before, and that is 1 volley
One health,
that
one
will
HP and a
knock
dream.
down Volta to single HP, hanging on by just a threat. But even that Vel'Koz 3 that might come around, I don't think is enough, and nobody is doing anything against Tidal.
They can't keep getting away with this. Like that, he's in first place now. He's still win streaking. He's got so much gold to work with. Honestly, he's gone 9 now. He
Still
could
no
go
Aatrox.
10. The fact, like, he's in such a good position here.
That being said, I think the entirety of this game has been played to perfection by Tidal. He's done everything he had to do at every point in time. The triple shrink on the Heimerdinger here as well. The Ice H on the Mordekaiser, a genius play that so many other players, even in this lobby, would not have thought of in his position.
Yeah, I think the triple shrink here is really good. It's going to provide that 50% shred and sunder. A lot of the items got nerfed down to 30, so that's not going to be enough right now.
But what is maybe going to be enough is the power of this board going up against Volta on the other side. Still no Vel'Koz 3 and nothing to avoid the execution here. Altanawe will follow. Weijin knocked down to 8. Hanqing knocked down to 9. Xiaoge to 10. We might just see him pull it off if only Hong Lian can do something here.
And the Grim Reaper has taken out his scythe. Volta is the first victim. I'm sure there will be many more to follow. Can anyone stand in Tidal's way? He was so close 2 sets ago. He's trying his best to bring glory to Japan. Their first ever World Championship is on the line in this Game 4. We were predicting 6, maybe 7 games, but Tidal might do it in just 4 games.
Literally the minimum. If I ended up caster cursing this, I'm so sorry, but this
There's no
board,
Demacia emblems. You're good, Mort.
Yeah, this board looks so insane though, and right now it feels like the only way you stop this is a 3-star 4 cost. It's such a powerful version. He's on a 10 win streak, has 30 gold. Even if he loses a fight, we can roll for Heimer 2, we can find something like the Aatrox, we can power it up even more. He's got a lot of room to grow. Meanwhile, we look at a board like this and there's just nowhere to grow. This is it, we're capped. And so no one's got the strength to beat him right now.
Weijin going up against maybe Tidal, maybe someone else. It is going to be Hanqing on the other side. We just saw this board knock out Volta, but how is it going to go between Weijin and himself? Weijin, the hope for North America,
Huge
trying
Cataclysm.
to do something here. Cataclysm finds the backline, but the Ashe does keep casting. Is enough for Weijin to hang on here. Wet Jungler out, Hanqing out, Xiaoge out, down to the top 3. We know that Weijin's board is probably not good enough to do something here, but Hong Lian could maybe do it.
Aatrox 2 for Hong Lian. He has so many upgraded 5 costs. He might be the only contender here. Wet Jungler finishes 4th, so he is in checkmate if Tidal does not end up winning, but it's looking so likely here for the Japanese player.
It feels like the only play here is the K'Sante. If you can get the... no, actually, Quicksilver. Never mind. That's not even going to be enough.
No, he's thought of everything.
That's not even going to be enough. So Hong Lian just really has to win by brute force. But again, if Tidal keeps winning, I think he's already on pace. He could just go to 10. And at that point, you can't beat the board. This is just going to be too much.
We're going to be seeing Tidal go up against Hong Lian. All hopes on this tournament not ending after round 4 lie on Hong Lian. Does he have the power to do anything here in the backline?
Mordekaiser.
So much damage going on. Mordekaiser fallen. The Queen's still alive though. And the Azir will try to find her. Sion lives, makes it there. And Tidal is knocked down.
That is massive. That shows, because that's the matchup we're going to be looking at a few times here. So now Tidal has to figure out, is there a way to find this board strength? Again, he's holding the gold. We're going to go into 6-1. We're going to probably go to level 10, power this up even more. But we saw that Azir just having so much damage and never being touched. Because one of the disadvantages of this comp is it is front to back. You have to get through the Sion. You've got to get through everything else.
going to be seeing this Drake come around and maybe give upgrades to the boards that we are looking here. 50 gold for Tidal is so much to maybe make a dream happen. He can go 10, and he does.
Yeah, to see level 10 here in the final game. Again, we talk about playing for first place conditions. Level 10 feels like one of them.
Aatrox finally found. It comes online onto the board right away. Could this be the next spike that Tidal needed to guarantee the win here? Heimer 2, the upgrades are coming and coming and coming. Can anyone stop Tidal?
Oh,
RE2 as well with blue buff and Slayer
Holy
emblem.
moly, this board just got a lot stronger.
And on the other side, we have Honglian, and he didn't find those upgrades. He's still running the same board that we just saw be enough to take down Tidal. Good thing here, Honglian up against Weijin. He can maybe do enough. He can maybe hang on, make it one more round to try and find anything to throw up against Tidal. Tidal up against the Ghost copy. He doesn't really care if it's Honglian's Ghost copy, though. He might be losing again, so it's all shaking out slowly. But what is for sure is that Weijin is going to get knocked out here. There's only one remaining player that can save the tournament to go to Game 5, and if not, Japan takes it.
This might come down to an APM check on Honglian. If he can 3-star a legendary, that might be the path he wants to take. But Tidal has so many legendaries on his own board, it'll make it so difficult to do so. I have to imagine if he gets one more loss in this pace, if he thinks he's weaker than Tidal going to the last fight, that's going to be his only out.
Yeah, but even then, Belveth 3 is definitely one of the weaker 3-star 5 costs, so even that looks a little scary here. Here we go into one of the fights here. I don't think this knocks anyone out, so it's going to be really close. This will give us a really good glimpse of who could be winning here. The Jarvan ult's going to be really big. That Azir, the Azir is going to be able to stack up really quick with that Ginsu's. We've got the Banshees keeping him CC immune. Mordekaiser, though, still so strong, and here comes the damage. Unlike
That's
last
Azir and Belveth left alive. The Mordekaiser so healthy still. The God of Death finally taken down. Is it too little, too late? Azir versus Quinn. Aatrox versus Quinn. Belveth finally gets the win there. Tidal down to 7 HP on his last life. Can Tidal hit any more power spikes to try and win this last one?
Honglian possibly finding the Heimerdinger or 2 here. Would need to sell off one of the Aatroxes there, but you're holding those to avoid that Tidal finds it. So it is a little bit of a game of chicken. If you think you're strong enough, and he does, he is going to remake it. Freeze up the Shroud of Stillness as well.
Yeah, the fact that he has the Shroud here to place, has the Belveth, should be good. And here we go into what could be the fight that saves the tournament.
We're going to be seeing Tidal on the other side, the only player on checkmate here against Honglian. This might be the very final fight between the two of them. In the backline, we have a big charge coming in, trying to take out the Unix. The big carry for Honglian is the Azir, and he might be the only unit that is left alive standing. It will be Honglian, knocked down to 9 HP. The next fight will determine everything. We're going to go into one more carousel before.
The final 1v1 positioning with all these different 5 casts with warping abilities will matter so much more talking this final fight.
Yeah, the thing to note, if you watch the fight again a second time, stare at that Belveth. If that Belveth lives a long time, that's going to do a ton of true damage. It's going to be stacking up. It's going to be doing great. If it dies quickly like it did last fight, though, that could spell the end here.
Aatrox 2 found for Tidal as well. This is a 6 Slayer. Slayer's resolve. Aatrox 2 coming online for the board here for the Japanese player.
Yeah, this again, you just got to stare at the Belveth. That feels like the key thing. It does have the Banshee's Veil, so it's CC immune. If we can get the fight to last long enough for the gem to proc, that's going to be a bunch of extra damage. But here we go into the final fight that could decide the tournament.
One more time, one last fight to determine it once and for all. Keep your eyes on that Belveth. She is moving towards the front line, trying to make something happen, trying to protect the tournament. In the back line, we're seeing good CC go off. Belveth still alive, getting her resets, but she's fallen. She's faltered so that the Mordekaiser, but it will not be enough. The backline is holding on by a thread. The survival of Aatrox will not matter at all. Honglian will fall on the back of this, and Tidal is your Runeterra Reforged World Champion!
He was so...
That's all, guys. Title 1. Japan is the champions. We'll see you in the next one.